work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers a list of dates annually indicating that this work session, regular meeting, would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 p.m. Tuesday, October 25th, 2016. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation by Councilman James Vassanella. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we gather here today as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen. Madam Master Clerk, please call the roll.
Deputy Mayor Chase.
Here.
Councilwoman Francois.
Here.
Mayor Kramer.
Here.
Councilman Onijaka.
Here.
Councilman Prasad. Councilwoman Robinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Here.
Councilman Vassanella.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Excellent timing, Councilman Prasad.
I heard that deep voice.
Yes, you do. Next, we have commendations, and I guess Councilman or Deputy Mayor Chase, Operation Secure Shred will come first. You have that proclamation? Do you have that proclamation?
No.
I thought I was informed.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay, we will move on. We will do that in a moment. We will do Red Ribbon Week proclamation and Therapeutic Recreation Award.
That pen's not working.
Come on. We are forever flexible.
Good evening, everyone. Franklin Township, Somerset County proclamation. Whereas the Township of Franklin values the health and safety of all its citizens, and whereas substance abuse is particularly damaging to one of our most valuable resources, our children, and a contributing factor in 3 leading causes of death for teenagers: accidents, homicides, and suicides. And whereas it is the goal of Red Ribbon Week and the Township of Franklin to involve families, schools, businesses, churches, law enforcement agencies, and service organizations in all aspects of this campaign, and establish an atmosphere that supports awareness, education, and ongoing initiatives to prevent illegal drug use. And whereas the Red Ribbon Week campaign theme promotes family and individual responsibilities for living health, drug-free lifestyles without illegal drugs or the illegal use of legal drugs. And whereas there are many activities planned during the Red Ribbon Week in the Township of Franklin. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Philip Kramer, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby proclaim October 22nd through October 30th, 2016 as Red Ribbon Week. Signed, Philip Kramer, Mayor, October 25th, 2016. So Ms. Alice Sipowicz.
On behalf of the Municipal Alliance, I'd like to thank the mayor and council for recognizing the prevention efforts that take place throughout the week. I'd also like to recognize our Alliance members, our school district, their student assistance coordinators, the health officers, and Officer Dawn Flanders for their efforts, not just during this week, but throughout the year as they educate young people in the community and help to create community awareness regarding the negative effects of substance abuse. We believe that the majority of residents do not engage in the use of illegal substances and they abide by underage drinking laws. However, there are still far too many people that fight addiction every day. So part of our Red Ribbon Week celebration, we conduct our annual poster contest. So we do advertise that through the schools in grades K through 12. And we are accepting posters through October 31st. I'd also just mention briefly that we have workshops throughout the year to educate the community, and we do have a workshop coming up in November, but I see that Dr. Alex Karazi is here this evening, and we have a great partnership with the Interfaith Council, so I'll let him highlight that. So thank you very much again.
Hi. So these are three very similar commendations. So I'm going to read the first one and then name the three individuals that were given these to. I'm James Vasanella. I'm reading this on behalf of Philip Kramer, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, and on behalf of the entire Township Council and all the residents. We hereby do extend to Marianne Regan, Bruce Medley, and Sophie Callan, the three individuals, and the entire Franklin Township Youth Council. Appreciation and commendation for the leadership in coordinating the Franklin Recreation Therapeutic Recreation Friday Night Drop-In Program, which has been recognized by the New Jersey Commission on Recreation for Individuals with Disabilities with the New Jersey Distinguished Governmental Agency Recreation Services Award. We recognize the efforts of all involved who have enhanced leisure services for community residents of all abilities in an inclusive environment. Through a variety of sports, fitness, cultural activities, and self-expressive opportunities, participants improved fundamental skills, enhanced talents, and built self-esteem. The peer-to-peer experience not only improved interactive skills, but led to new friendships. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to serving all populations of Franklin and for making Franklin Township a leader in inclusive recreation services. Someone would like to come receive this? Don't be shy. The work you do is important and well appreciated. Okay. Bruce? You're welcome. Thank you. And just for what it's worth, we obviously have a lot of activities in this town for everyone, young and old. Sometimes we don't always realize and recognize there is a variety of people with a variety of different disabilities, and their activities and enjoyment and self-esteem and everything mentioned in there is very important to me, and I'm sure everyone else out there. And I want to thank all of you for taking it to the level you have and continue to. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to congratulate Marianne Regan for taking the lead in developing this program and for the support and teamwork from Safi Callan, who runs our Youth Council, and Bruce Medley, who runs our Boys Council programs. The peer-to-peer experience provides socialization, which is a critical piece that makes this program special. social interaction, which is simple for you and I, is not always the case for individuals with disabilities. So to have the experience to practice those skills, to build friendships at the same time is what this program is about. And we're really excited to say also that this program is going to be expanding. It's going to be offering community-based learning experiences and community service opportunities for our participants. Thank you very much.
Ted, they wanted you. You're up next.
They're still taking pictures. Is that your go?
Thank you. It's nothing in there. Yeah, put it- it's the garbage.
The next item, Deputy Mayor Chase will present the commendation for Operation Secure Shred volunteers.
Okay, this is to thank members of Boy Scout Troop
Microphone.
156, having
Mike,
Speak into the mic, please.
participated in Operation Secure Shred, which is our annual opportunity for the public to bring documents they want to have shredded, and we collected how many pounds of
I don't
paper.
remember how many pounds, but it was over 600 cars that we took stuff from.
Wow. So you can see what a big help these volunteers were.
it's like 30,000 pounds minimal.
Think?
50 pounds of car, 600 cars. I'm so glad you.
50 pounds of carbs.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Whereas our community relies heavily upon volunteer assistance and collaboration to provide services, and whereas the Operation Secure Shred program is sponsored by the County of Somerset and operates under the direction of the Township Clerk's Office, whereas on Saturday, September 10, 2016, the following volunteers assisted the Township Clerk's Office in the Operation Secure Shred program: Boy Scout Troop 156, Alex Kokoza, O'Brien Dennison, Austin Hill, Jonathan Hood, Sam Makowski, Kaden Shea, William Smith, Zachary Shabo, with leaders Dave Kokoza, Norm Hill, Doug Hood, and Randy Shabo. Now, therefore, we, Philip Kramer, Mayor, and Theodore Chase, Deputy Mayor, on behalf of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, recognize these volunteers for their outstanding service to our community.
I would just like to say that I'm William Smith. I'm part of Troop 156. I've recently joined this troop, and let's just say that this troop is amazing. They've done lots of programs. They are an amazing troop. They're friendly, kind, courteous, the entire law and oath, and they follow it very directly. And let's just say that day was so hard. Like, I had to take a 50-pound bag and shove it in there, and those trash cans kept filling up so many times. You had to wait at least 20 minutes for the next load. So I just like to say I would like to thank this troop and the town council for thanking us for helping the community, and I hope to look forward to doing this again.
Right.
Can't miss that one.
Yeah, it is. Very nice thing for youngins, everybody's friends.
Next, we have a proclamation honoring Jim and Karen Hunter. They would come up.
Indeed, it is an honor and a privilege to be able to give this proclamation to the Hunter family, but it is also with great sadness that I'm doing this. They're a family that have been iconic in this community for forever and ever. And every time I tell people that they're leaving, they're like, they're leaving? I think we all felt that they were permanent fixtures here and we had them to ourselves for the rest of our lives. Me in particular, I have adopted myself into the family. I bring a turkey for Thanksgiving every year. Their only daughter's name has my name, Kimberly, my namesake. Their son, one of their sons is my protege, so I have adopted them. So I'm really, really sad that they're leaving, and I'm so sad I'm giving them a farewell party. But I wanted them to come here because they've done so much, not because what they mean to me, but because of what they mean to everybody in Franklin Township. They have touched tens of thousands of youth's lives with their oratory program, not just in Franklin, but throughout the state of New Jersey and throughout the nation. They've taught young people how to speak, stand up proud, and flat-foot and deliver. Their children have gone to the White House. They've not their personal children, but the children in the program have gone to the White House. And not one child that they have touched has not succeeded in life. Gone on to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, gotten a college education. I mean, it's just been phenomenal what they've done for the youth in this state. And they've even opened up some programs in Africa. So I'm hoping that even though they're going away, they won't retire. And they will still come back here and they will still continue to do what they've been doing because we need them and the youth all over need them. So I'm going to read this proclamation and I'm going to ask Mr. Hunter to say a few words. Whereas Jim and Karen Hunter have served this community well for many, many years as enthusiastic and hardworking citizens of our community, and whereas for 31 years, Jim and Karen Hunter have led the New Jersey Orators Program, a program teaching the art of public speaking, an appreciation for literature, reading and media arts, literacy, and life skills to youth from 7 to 18 years of age throughout the state of New Jersey and nationwide. This program, through their leadership, has developed confident youth with the ability to succeed. Whereas Jim and Karen announced their plans to leave our community, and whereas Jim and Karen have earned the respect and affection of a host of area residents. Now, therefore, we, Kimberly Francois, Councilwoman, and our Mayor, Philip Kramer, of the Township of Franklin, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby commend Jim and Karen Hunter for their many contributions to the progress of this community and extend our personal best and those of the Township Council and all of our citizens for a happy and successful future. And I just want to let you know, we all really, really do love you. And you're going to have a great big party.
Well, Kimberly, thank you once again. And again, I just cannot say enough about this township because we love it here. We really do. And we are very sad that we have to leave, but it's something that we will always remember, the friendship and the amount of opportunity that was given to us. And Ms. Francois and the mayor, we really appreciate this proclamation. But I cannot stand here alone because my wife has played a very important part in this whole process. Without her, about 34 years ago, Greg, my name is Gregory, said, there's something I think we can do for our community. And I saw something that I think that this could be a great opportunity for us. And it is something to do with children in public speaking. But she shares in this whole dream of ours. She's been there every step of the way. And for these last 42 years, Karen, come on, stand beside me, baby. 42 years, and this has meant a lot to us to be able to say this to the public, because you don't get an opportunity that often. And I'm usually behind the scenes, but this time around, I want Karen to share in this whole process, because she has played just as much of a part in this whole development of what I have become, and also what the children of this township have become also. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to say, Jim and Karen, you've been an inspiration to many kids, including this one. Okay, I will entertain a motion to open the session for public discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This portion of the meeting is open for public session. Speakers may come up. Please give your name and address. Limited to 5 minutes. You may only come up once. No yielding of time. Mr. Karazi.
Dear respected Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Councilman, Councilwoman, Township Manager, Madam Secretary, and Mr. Rene, good evening. My name is Alex Karazi, and I live at 14 Margaret Drive in Somerset. I'm also president of Franklin Township Interfaith Council. As most of you know, there are over 50 houses of worship in Franklin Township. Besides holding religious services, they help the community in many ways, such as helping the needy, feeding hungry, offering counseling to fight drug addiction, providing mental health services, responding at times of national and international disasters, holding blood drives, and of course promoting unity, dialogue, and love among community members. For example, Somerset Bible Baptist Church has a program to help those who are dealing with hurts, bad habits, or hang-ups. The program is held every Friday at 7 p.m. at 42nd Cedar Grove Lane. There's a free workshop on Wednesday, November 16 at Senior Center at 7 p.m., which is designed to promote factual knowledge and discussion and enlighten teachers, parents, and students to the warning signs associated with mental health issues and suicide. This is sponsored by Franklin Township Municipal Alliance for the Prevention of Substance Abuse and also supported, among others, by Franklin Township Interfaith Council. And there is also a candlelight vigil on November 18, which is hosted by the Middle Bush Reformed Church. With this brief introduction, we believe that it will be nice if the council recognizes contributions of houses of worship to the community by giving an honorary name to one of the streets in town. One of the streets that we have a high concentration of houses of worship is Cedar Grove Lane. In fact, if you drive through the 2-mile stretch of this lane, you'll come across many churches, temples, and a mosque. We would like to request the council to give Cedar Grove Lane an honorary name of Interfaith Lane. We thank you in advance for your consideration, and God bless you all. And also, I want to mention that there's a flyer for that free workshop. The flyers are there, and you can get more information from the Township Council, at 732-873-199, option 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Certainly.
My name is George Stafford, and I reside at 16 Kitchell Avenue in Wharton, New Jersey, but I'm here as a representative of the New Jersey Highlands Coalition. I have two resolutions here that I'd like you at a future time to consider. One is support for the 2005 New Jersey Highlands Water Protection and Planning Act, and the other is a resolution regarding the New Jersey Water Master Plan. New Jersey set a goal for itself years ago. Every 5 years we come up with a water master plan so that for planning purposes we'd know where we are. The last one was published in 1996. One was finished about 7 years ago, and it remains on the shelf at DEP and hasn't been published. We would like that study, which is paid for and finished, to be published. And of course, we'd love them to execute a new thing so we know what's going on right now. So I'd leave you with that. The Highlands Act, we have 106 municipalities, freeholder boards, and environmental commissions that have considered this resolution and passed it. Almost 7 million people in the state of New Jersey get some or all of their water from Highland sources. Your community, DEP estimates, get about 25%, and that comes to 858 million gallons a year. In the situation that we presently have, most of the water that, the water that you get when you tell people that they can't water their lawns anymore is that last 25% that comes out of the Highlands. The Highlands is the only place in central and northern New Jersey that has a water surplus. So the idea of the act was to preserve areas in the Highlands known as a preservation area, which is for water recharge, to make sure that we have groundwater for periods of time like this. And this is what we're drinking right now. I came past the Newark Reservoir up on Route 23 a couple of days ago, and it is low. And the only thing that's going in there now is the groundwater from the streams that are in that area, and those streams are very low. So we're down in a situation where we're talking about water restrictions in the state. The act is under a lot of pressure to allow septic in the preservation area, to allow more development in the preservation area, and we're opposed to that. There is a group of property owners there that have an association that wants, and the Highlands Council has just passed a request from the state legislature to create a water fee or water tax. The property owners are asking for alternately $6 billion because they claim that the lack of development has taken away from them their equity, landowner equity. And another figure that they throw out is $15 billion. So we're opposed to the idea of paying people off because they lost equity since 2005. We all know there was a real estate bubble. We know we had a recession. We know that when gasoline went to $4 a gallon or more, that the outlying districts in northern New Jersey suffered real estate problems, not because of the act, which is providing water for most of the people in the state of New Jersey, but because the market changed. And the market has changed to condo and apartment setups in areas that have good public transportation, and it's gone away from taking the old farm and then throwing a bunch of McMansions on it. That's 90s stuff, and that boat has sailed. Those people who didn't do that don't deserve to get their reimbursed for the fact that certainly we would love to pay them for preservation or public use, but to keep that land open so that the critical area of recharge will be saved for the state of New Jersey, and we will all be able to enjoy as much water as we have. If you're going to get water in the future in this part of the state to do more development here, it's going to come from the Highlands, because that's the only place where a water surplus exists at this point. So I know that the Cubs only play in the World Series about once every 100 years. So I thank you for your time. I'd be happy to answer questions. I also have my contact information on the resolution for the Highlands, my phone number and my email address. And if you want to contact me, that's fine too. And I can come back if you like. So I have copies of everything, and I'll leave them with your clerk if I may, and I'll send the clerk Word copies in the by email tomorrow. So I thank you for your time unless you have any questions.
Thank you very much, sir, and perhaps you can distribute that to the Environmental Commission. Yes, ma'am.
The Environmental Commission has had this and has supported it, to my
So
thing.
if they can make a recommendation to council,
I
then,
believe I spoke to your Environmental Commission a while back, but I've been to, by my figures, 303 meetings like this, and I'm losing track.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay.
No, I remember it being circulated to the Environmental Commission. I think I may have
Yes.
missed a meeting that he spoke at. But
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Mumm. I live at 237 Samuel Place. I'm a newcomer to Franklin, and I have a question about the police department transparency. Does Franklin Township Police use dashboard video cameras and body cameras? If no, why not? If yes, how accessible is the footage to the public in the event of a police shooting if there is loss of life?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last sentence. Could you say that again?
If yes, if they do use cameras, how accessible is the footage to the public in the event of a police shooting resulting in loss of life?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the one answer I can tell you is we don't have body cameras yet because the Attorney General has not set a guideline yet. Mr. Vornlocker, since you were...
So the answer is, do they have dash-mounted cameras in all of the marked units as required by the State of New Jersey Attorney General's office? Yes. As far as availability of footage, and in an event that such as the one that you described, all of that would be under the control of the county prosecutor and not the municipal police department or its chief. Those investigations are completed by the county prosecutor's office, and they would be considered evidence, and any evidence is only released at the discretion of the county prosecutor, not the police department. So really, I can't answer your question as to whether or not it would be released. That would be up to the county prosecutor.
All right. Benjamin Guy, 35 Patton Drive, Somerset. I just got, they usually come up here to ask a question. They just, for the town itself. And I just always ask to say, are we actually pushing toward a unified community? The reason why I ask that is all the time is because a lot of stuff that we do is usually undermined a lot of times. It doesn't come as a holistic plan from each one of the town council board members. It seems like it's like a lot of individual special interest that's actually expressed, and I just always ask the question why. So I just want to know, are you representative of everybody here as far as the community, meaning each ward, each person, each individual business that's actually here, and you actually represent them, or do you represent your individual interests? The reason why I ask that is because one of the biggest population densities that's in this town, and I always will say this, is the kids that are under 18. There's not enough programs here. Plain and simple. I will keep saying this until you guys start doing something about it. Because if you look at the census map based on the county stats, they're the largest population density that's here. They're not the voting block, but they're the largest economic block that we actually have here. And a lot of times we push off to the school board to do something about it. It's not just the school board's problem. It is our problem too. When kids get in trouble in the street, it is more stuff that has to be done, put pressure on the police department, everybody else to do stuff with them. And like I said, we've taken a lot of social service programs away from this town, and like I said, it needs to be brought back. And I will keep saying this as long as I live in Somerset. You're losing a lot of people because you're not supporting the programs. Mr. Hunter and everybody else, they run a great program. They've serviced a lot of people. They've touched a lot of lives. A lot of positive citizens have contributed because of their programs. They're gone. So what are we doing to replace them? Because these kids, the program is still needed for the kids. Are we replacing it or not? Again, it shouldn't just be on them to actually do that for us community leaders. Again, the Boy Scouts that are here, again, how much do we support them? Do we actually support them? Do we support the Girl Scouts? Do we do stuff for it? Because again, there's no meeting places for these kids to do anything. What are we doing about that? Again, every time there's something to be brought up about the kids, something for the kids to be done or a meeting place for them, there's nothing, there's talk. It's been talk for the last 10, 15 years. It's been on a master plan for 10, 15 years. What have we done? Again, I don't know whether or not we're just saying we're doing something, or are we actually going to do something about it. Again, there's enough money between the county and the city, the township, to do that. Again, what we've done is we let these wars and these different individual agendas divide us, whether or not we're calling ourselves Kingston, Middle Bush, Franklin Park, Zarephath, Griggstown, whatever we're calling them. We're still Franklin Township. Again, we haven't had a unified plan on what we're doing, and I don't know how long. I don't think we're ever going to get there. And I think that's part of the divisive nature that the board is actually doing behind the scenes. I don't know whether or not you guys are doing redlining with the zoning board or what have you, but like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes that we need to get to the bottom of. And like I said, again, either we're going to have a open public conversation about it, whether or not it needs to be an open forum or something else that needs to be done. It needs to be done soon, because again, you're starting to lose a lot of credibility out here. And like I said, again, it's not that it can't be done, because there's enough economic power in this area to actually do it. It's just that you're not doing it, and I don't understand why. And I'm going to keep asking the question. I keep asking the question why until we actually get to the bottom of it. So that is my piece. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Linda Powell, 22 Buffer Drive, and I would like to thank the Honorable Mayor, Dr. Phil Kramer, and the Franklin Township Council members, especially Councilman Rajiv Prasad and Deputy Mayor Dr. Ted Chase, who've been actively involved, for their endorsements and submissions to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, to help stop the Northeast expansion project of the William Transco gas company. Williams Transco is proposing to add about 35 miles of pipeline and new compression to its existing Transco pipeline system. The Transco Northeast Supply and Expansion Project can be identified by docket number PF 16-5 on the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission website. Transco wants to build this new 32,000 horsepower gas compression station inside the Trap Rock Quarry in Franklin Township, New Jersey, an active blasting site. Many of the concerns regarding safety and health hazards of this expansion have been expressed to FERC. Unfortunately, FERC is now composed of only 3 commissioners who are under federal jurisdiction, but their budget is paid for by the companies they are supposed to regulate. I want to mention that it's critically important, something as it is critically important. I did not have Mr. Hunt's oratory courses, so I'm doing my best. That experts such as Bill McKibben have said that any expansion of these pipelines and compressor stations will push us over the edge as far as climate change. It's also important for us to realize that this liquid natural gas is not for New Jersey residents. We are well over our capacity of filling the needs for liquid natural gas in this state, actually the whole country. So none of this project is necessary for our energy needs. It is identified by Williams Transco for Long Island, Brooklyn, and Queens. This may be true, though many think it is really for sale overseas. But if it is true, and the residents of those new areas in New York would not benefit from this gas if their property was under the sea rather than by the sea. I've heard the argument from some union people in the building trades that this expansion will provide jobs. I support labor and unions. There is a lot we need to build or rebuild in New Jersey. We need repaired bridges, roads, schools, affordable housing, renewable energy, and my own idea of local solar-heated greenhouses as a source of unadulterated food supply. But we do not need in New Jersey is more air pollution, water pollution, or to have our environment destroyed for the sake of greed for more corporate profits. We would like to ask the township to form a voluntary advisory committee to identify action plans and keep township residents updated on what is being done and what else we can do. And also for the Township Council to continue to pressure New Jersey departments such as the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection and other departments involved in overseeing the Williams Northeast Expansion Project, excuse me, and to have the Township Council actively submit letters and communication to New Jersey federal senators and representatives. Again, thank you for what you already have done. This is only the beginning. Let's continue to work together to stop a project that will transform Franklin from the green haven we all want and need for our health and safety and our continued existence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Powell. Yes, sir.
Scott Siegel, 23 Navy Court, Mayor's Council. We'll talk about the same subject. I received a robocall, I don't know if it came from you or a private group, that this compression station is both not needed and dangerous. The reason I didn't speak during the public sessions, as you know, I tried to do research and I had nothing really positive either way to say, but I have completed extensive research on it. First of all, PSG says they're 90% booked. It's all private money as opposed to things like roads or bridges. And then, since taxpayers are on the hook, they have no reason to lie. So the only question is it dangerous or not? I took this century because this is where natural gas has gone from 10% to 30% of our fuel supply. In terms of greenhouse gases, we lead the industrialized world in a 6% decline in greenhouse gases. 5 of those 6 points is directly related to the use of natural gas compared to other fuels. In our century, there have been 14 incidents. And incidents range, this is from Wikipedia, 21st century pipeline accidents. It's minor spills to explosions, includes liquid propane and ammonia pipelines as well. And really want to know about lives, because property can be replaced, but lives cannot. There have been 14 incidents in 17 years. However, only one, 2013, in Tyler, West Virginia, County, West Virginia, where 2 people killed. Same time in America each year, we get 53 people that die by bee stings, which would mean 901 Americans die by bee stings compared to 2 people killed by natural gas compressor stations this century. Means you're 450 times more likely to die from bee stings than the compressor. Now, in natural gas pipelines, have been 34 deaths. Again, 26 times bee stings. Petroleum has been 70 deaths, which is 13 times bee stings. If you take petroleum and natural gas together, 104 deaths, 9 times more likely to die by bee stings. Now, let's look at some major accidents. The largest one actually was in 1920. It was a liquid propane pipeline, a couple dozen people killed. We're all familiar with 1994 in Durham Woods. A 40-year-old Texas Eastern pipeline blew, and there was 1 death by a heart attack not related to the pipeline. The largest loss of life has been 2010 in San Bruno, California, where a 50-year-old pipeline exploded with 8 people dying. And then in 2011, 5 people were killed in Allentown, Pennsylvania from an iron gas pipeline built in 1928 and was 83 years old. So if you look at pipeline deaths, they occur with pipelines that are 40 to 83 years old. Now, the reason why I mentioned the Texas Eastern one in particular, directly through my neighborhood at Renaissance is the same Texas Eastern pipeline, as well as the sister pipeline, the Algonquin, right through the heart of my neighborhood. Since each natural gas pipeline is 17 times more likely to die in a natural gas compressor, that means that my neighbors, myself, and it goes to Sterling Point by Ross Sherman's neighborhood as well, we're 34 times more likely to die than a natural gas compression station. No robocalls about that. And it seems to me no one's knocked on our door, sends any mail that we're living in obviously mortal danger with these pipelines that exist. And it appears to me that it's very possible that some lives in this town matter, that these are special meetings, and other lives could be expendable. Because why do we not notify that we're living in mortal danger? The other thing I want to talk about is item K on the resolution pack. It's for $9,400 for a range at the Middlebush concession stand. As I spoke about during the debates, $1 spent on this concession stand is a waste of taxpayer money. Again, we should have food trucks. Food trucks could pay a permit fee, which is a straight revenue stream for the taxpayers. The whole project's going to cost $500,000. I don't know how much the concession stand is going to cost. But food trucks will cost $0. This is another example, just like the mailing system we have, of how you're wasting taxpayer money. And this is why we end up at the bottom 17% in the county in the last 5 years in fiscal responsibility. So I hope this gets rejected. We junk the concession stand and go to food trucks, which will provide a greater degree of cuisine and a pure revenue stream for the taxpayers. Thank you.
Mr. Siegel, I wasn't clear. Are you saying you're in favor of the compressor station? I wasn't clear your point.
Well, I live in a neighborhood where I have 2 pipelines running right through it. I sleep very well at night, knowing based upon the facts that I found that I'm much too likely to die by bee stings. So yes, I would be in favor of it.
You are in favor of the compressor station. Okay, thank you. I believe it was Einstein that said, if you get rid of all the bees in the world, we'll starve in 3 years.
Hi,
It's not proven that he said that. Okay.
Kirk Frost, 58 Peoples Line Road, Franklin Township. I'd like to thank the Township Council for the efforts and actions they've taken regarding the compressor station. And I think one of the things that I look at with the compressor station, yeah, there are accidents, and actually there's quite a number of recent accidents that have been detailed out with Williams Company, but I think the more important aspect is that this compressor station is a threat to our living and to our security, our health, safety, and also environment. Now, the reason why I say that is because if you look at a 32,000 horsepower natural gas powered gas compressor, it's several turbines emitting. One of the specs for a similar powered gas compressor is 337,000 pounds of exhaust every hour. Now, that might not be the VOCs or the NOCs in terms of the actual emission of those. That's in terms of tons per year. However, all the aspects of this compressor involve fugitive emissions, the exhaust, the temperature of the exhaust, the output, and then also the chemicals that are being burned and combusted in as a chemical output. There are also other aspects about the Marcellus Shale in terms of that's the reason why this gas compressor is being put in place, is to be able to transfer this to other locations such as New York City and, Staten Island and New York City. I think when I look at Franklin Township, I moved here because of it is open green space, and I've very much appreciated what the councils in the past and present have been doing to maintain that, to protect our environment, to protect our safety, and to protect our health. Natural gas compressors, in fact, within the last few days, Department of Health in Massachusetts had just submitted an increase in outbreaks of health issues within that township because of the gas compressor that was just put in place there. There's quite a bit of information on the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission website. There's a lot of examples from other townships and other states that are fighting equally against the proliferation of fossil fuels, which we're trying to actually reduce down. It's now more than ever important for this township to act on our safety, to protect us, to continue the green space and the environment that I chose to live here for. And I'm hoping that you will look at putting together a committee or some type of commission that will oversee and also interact with this on an ongoing basis. And I'm always would volunteer and do whatever it takes to help out. And I very much appreciate your time on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Rest assured, Mayor Graham, we will not close this session without hearing from you. You can relax.
My name is Surendra Tiwari. I live in 160 Bunker Hill Road. The gentleman who spoke about being in favor of pipelines and compressor station doesn't live near a compressor station. He lives near a pipeline. There's a big difference. And if the compressor station is being put inside a blast area, can you imagine what will happen with that? Has anybody studied that? I do want to bring 2 points to your attention. One is the availability of resources to tackle any emergency situation that happens because of this. Your police, your firefighters, I mean, even if you put all the towns together, you'll not have enough water to extinguish those fires that will burn that jungle, those woods. I think it just doesn't make sense to put it in that area. With 32,000 horsepower, I don't have to go into the Williams and the FERC's website to find out what they have done. The other point I want to make is Williams have lied to us about their ability to take care of this. There are 3 people that are going to be in those stations. 3 people working from 7 to 3:30. I don't know how many of you, like last time I said, you work for 7 to 3:30. You are working now. Nobody works 7 to 3:30. It's a joke. And then they're saying that they will ask somebody in Oklahoma or Central Station. They don't even say Oklahoma. They say Central Station. They're fooling us by saying the Central Station will respond. What will they respond? They will call the local police, local fire people, and ask them to respond. There's not enough space to go for the police vehicles and fire vehicles at the same time. So please keep in mind that there are 2 things that we have to see. Can we afford to have the resources to take care of these emergencies? Williams have responded to our comments in 16 or 18 points. I don't remember exactly. I didn't have time to read. I don't work from 7 to 3:30. But my point is that if you look at those responses, there's no specificity. We'll call the Central Station is the response, for example. Is this the kind of response we want? I think I will support Linda and others, Kirk here, who said that we should put together a commission to monitor this and ask and demand this company to get some specifics as to how are they going to take care of it. And I'll also ask the township, other departments, because they're looking for some institutional comments. That means the fire department, the police department, as to how can they support these emergencies. I think we should ask for that. We should ask our departments to look into this and send those comments that they can or they cannot do, or what kind of resources they will need. It's very important to understand that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Johnny, why don't you come? Oh, okay. Thank you. The Honorable Patricia Graham, Mayor of Montgomery, is honored us with her presence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your having me here tonight. I'm here on behalf of Montgomery to formally advise the township.
I'm sorry, name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Patricia Graham, 183 Wilshire Drive, Belmead.
They got me once at a meeting.
I'm not used to being on this side.
I get it.
So I'm here to thank Franklin for your efforts in opposing the compressor, and also to formally advise the township that Montgomery will join in your opposition and in South Brunswick's opposition to the compressor. I know, thank you. I actually know people who live on Laurel Ave, right near the quarry, and when the quarry does blasting, the house shakes. So what is that going to do to a building with this compressor in it? I am very sympathetic to all the health and safety concerns that we've heard tonight, and I'm just here to offer you Montgomery's support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Sure.
I wouldn't have heard that if I went first, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Johnny Steele, 25 Parkside. I'll be very brief. The only thing I did want to say before I say what I really come here to say is that I often get confused with the Recreation Department in terms of proclamations. At what point does proclamations be given as opposed to your job description? And I don't see how a job description, when somebody performs their job, they should get proclamations for it. I get confused with that. And I've watched about 1,000 proclamations given to the Recreation Department, and I don't see any of the things that's being expressed come to my area at any time at all. Secondly, I stand here as a product of Jim and Karen Hunter, and I think that I have done a pretty good job in the past 20 years. They're going to be missed. I would be remiss if I didn't come here and give my congratulations on them going forward in their lives and to thank them for the work they have trained me to do. And I think that everyone that's sitting on the council is a product of some of our work that we have done in Franklin Township. And what you say, Bob? And I'd like to also say that in going forward this year, I can guarantee you that any type of negative conversations, subliminal suggestions, or anything else would not interfere with our victory coming November the 8th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else who hasn't spoken?
Seeing no one coming forward, Mayor, a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion, all in favor of closing the public session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public session is closed. Committee reports and council comments. The Honorable Councilwoman Chanel Robinson, if you would go first, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Only committee report that I have is from Housing Authority, which also Councilman Wright sits on as a commissioner. They are going through their fiscal year budgets and will be on target and on time in submitting their budgets for their fiscal year. We did not meet FOC, and public safety was last month. The only other thing I have to say is in regards to Jim and Karen Hunter, my family has known them a little bit over 20 years, and they have been a pillar in this community and abroad. Mr. Hunter, even through generations of my family, is the Sunday school teacher of my granddaughter. So the waters do run deep, and they will be sorely missed at our church, in another community within the state, as well as throughout this community. Their program, New Jersey Orders, even though they will not be here, will continue to live on in the community. Even though they will not physically be here in Franklin Township, the legacy that they have built here with the New Jersey Orders program will remain intact. And to Mr. Guy's question in regards to unifying the community, there are several programs that are already in place that have nothing to do with necessarily the township. And I found out through Franklin Day Festival, through information, there's a Toastmaster program that's been in existence for a few years that has to do with public speaking. So there are several programs for our youth, and I didn't entirely get what age group he was referring to. Was it 18 and over or under 18?
Under 18.
Under 18. Parks and Recs have a lot of programs, as well as whatever those needs are. The programs that are in existence, we ask that they reach out to us and tell them what it is that they need from us. Some things we may be able to do, some things we may not. However, having those conversations, we rely on the public to be our eyes and ears. You all are closer to what's happening, and we rely on you all to give us that feedback. We don't have the answers to everything. We're here to be a voice for the people. And I can personally speak for myself. I represent the Township of Franklin, not Chanel Robinson. Just want to, the young lady that came up and asked about the body cameras, I think the answers were adequate enough. But again, the mayor did indicate that the body cameras are not in place yet. So do stay tuned of what's coming forth once we have those guidelines and using them. We didn't want to make haste decision in having things in place without having some type of guidelines, rules, regulations surrounding that. Because having them and not having that in place would be just as devastating as having them and not knowing how to use them effectively. Mr. Mayor, I have nothing else at this time.
Thank you. Councilman Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A lot was said, and I'd just like to comment on that. Mr. Karazi, I thank you for your service in terms of the interfaith community and the 70 houses of worship that you represent. And I think we should seriously consider honoring the interfaith community by putting the honorary interfaith lane on Cedar Grove, and maybe we could do that for the next council meeting. Now, the transparency issue has already been addressed. And to Mr. Guy, we are a unified community. We're doing a lot of things to make it one Franklin Township as opposed to 8 villages. And beyond that, for the youth, we have a youth community center that's in the works. Councilwoman Francois would talk about it a lot more in detail, but we do have the youth in mind. We're looking at other active recreation facilities nearby where they can walk and take a bike and get there and be productively occupied. The Youth Community Center would also be there to mentor and tutor the kids and help them also have some fun on a Friday night and give them some activities to do. So those are things that have been expressed. There was a needs, workshop done to just brainstorm and find out what the community wanted. I thank the compressor opposition group for their efforts and their dedication. We're there to support you and whatever we can do. And of course, thank you to Mayor Patricia Graham for her support and joining with Franklin and South Brunswick in that effort. And finally, Mr. Tibbs, thank you for all your service and hard work. So now, also wanted to comment on the therapeutic recreation. I want to thank Alice and Bruce Medley for all their efforts. The Scouts for all your service with the Operation Shred. As a former Boy Scout in India, it's something close to my heart. My son was part of the Scouts Troop 113. So I was a scouting dad as such, supporting him through that. And of course, Jim and Karen Hunter, thank you for all you have done for our township, especially the New Jersey Orators. It's saved a lot of young people, and they've been very impressive, especially when they go out and recite Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech at the Martin Luther King breakfast. And they do it from memory, so it's unbelievable. And these are 10, 12-year-old kids. It's just amazing what he has done with them. So beyond that, I'm glad that, our governor has reopened the construction on the 518 bridge. He is very good at, shutting down bridges. So we appreciate that gesture on his part. And the Domestic Violence Awareness Month is October, so please keep that in mind and be aware of it and try to make all efforts to curb the domestic violence. Now, I do go around and I talk to a lot of employers at the retail level, and they're telling me, look, I need help, and I need a cashier that I cannot find, and others who say they need help for, healthcare workers and other things. So there are jobs there. And we also have on the other side, youth and other people telling me that, we're all unemployed and we need work. And so somehow we've got to bring the two parties together and try to help. So I don't know if we can think of facilitating a website through the township where a job exchange or something could be done, or maybe we could do it as, some other independent body could take it up and see if we can help provide some kind of jobs exchange for the employers to post and employees to post. So that's one thing. The other is the community cafe is one of the high priorities of the interfaith group, and the 70 houses of worship have recognized the need that the food bank is doing a phenomenal job feeding 2,000 families that need food. But those that have lost their home, they have no place to take food from the food bank and cook it. So they need a place to at least get a warm meal. And it's very disguised. Many people don't even know that these people are homeless. So what the interfaith community is suggesting is that there's a community cafe concept with internet access that will give these people a chance to go and get a meal. And it would not be a soup kitchen as such, so they can take their children and everybody gets a meal, but also the interfaith community and their congregations will go and patronize the place. So you buy one and you give one, and that is how you do a good turn to everybody. You're going to eat out anyway, but the profits from that will help feed some of the people that need it. So that is something that we're working on, and we'd love to have suggestions somewhere in the Hamilton Street, Franklin Boulevard area near the food bank where we can put something like that. So we're looking for possible locations where this can be put. And then just a happy Diwali to everybody. It's on October 30th, the Festival of Lights. And of course in India it is insane. You cannot even breathe the air. That's how many fireworks go off over there. And I would never go there at that time because of that. It's just too bad. But here, at least we don't have that. And then vote on November 8th. It's a very critical election, but get out and vote, please. The community, my committee reports, the Community Foundation meeting is being rescheduled. And the HRC met last night, and we had Dawn Flanders give a report and a presentation on identity theft and IRS scams. So that was very helpful. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank
Oh,
you.
one thing that has happened, Mr. Mayor, and that was brought up to our attention, was that the softball fee and the baseball fee for our kids has gone up from $50 to $300 to participate in a season. And that is excessive, and the kids are sitting at home watching everybody else play baseball across.
You realize, Councilman, that's not us.
Okay.
Right, those are not,
Little League?
that's not us.
Well,
Right,
then
so
we need to
I
address
have no control over the
Yeah,
Little
then we
League
need to
baseball
address that
program.
with the Little League and say, this was a complaint I got here last night from,
I have no idea
Mayor.
what they charge, but it is not a fee that's charged by the Township of Franklin.
Okay, well, I'm glad you clarified that, and so we'll continue to work on it to make it a little more acceptable. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad, and the very honorable Councilman Vasanel.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for helping to launch our original Canal Fest, and that'll be the first thing I mention, but I won't steal your limelight. It was a wonderful event. The people I know who come from far distances to participate were as pleased or more pleased than they were in years past. So I'll leave it at that. Great event. Small event, and hopefully kind of stay that way. It's nice keeping it that way. Anyway, the Boy Scouts, I see there's one lone Boy Scout getting ready to leave. I want to thank the Boy Scouts that were here. I think some of them went off to a meeting. And full disclosure, my son's a Boy Scout, but the bottom line is, even if he wasn't, I think people just don't realize the activities and the volunteerism that these Boy Scouts, and I'm sure Girl Scouts, I'm just not as knowledgeable as Girl Scouts, do every week of every month of every year, and a lot of things that just never get noticed and appreciated, and I'm glad that today some of their efforts did. And if anybody has any other activities, wonderful things that they've done, please bring them to any council person, and bring them to myself, and when it's need to be, we will recognize them. Thank you.
If I may interject 1 second, I'll be at your troop this weekend, I believe, for an Eagle Court.
Yep. Yes, and we have 4 of them here in Franklin, and that leads in kind of another thing I was going to mention. I respect Mr. Guy's passion for fighting for the youth. I applaud him. Keep bringing us suggestions, and we can do more and we can do better. But I must say, there are a lot of activities for youth in this town. Do we maybe need to make some more accessible or find some that we're not aware of? Sure. But between Boy Scout, I mean, today was such an example. If you see the 3 proclamations we gave out for the Boy Scouts, the New Jersey Orators, which you can't say enough about the Hunters. I don't want to be repetitive. There's just a quick anecdote. Somebody came to me one time. There's this great program. It's a great program. You should see about it for your child. I'm like, what are you talking about? They weren't even from around here. And they're telling me and describing. And I'm going, wait a minute, that sounds like the New Jersey Orange. And I'm like, that's in our town. Oh my God, you're so lucky. Anyway, I don't want to go on and on, but it's amazing. And a lot of people didn't even know they existed. So thank you to the Hunters, and they're leaving. As much as we don't like that, maybe it will bring even some more recognition. And as far as I understand, that program's going to continue to thrive. So whether it's that program, Scouts, the extra programs for some certain special needs with recreation. There are so many, and maybe we have to do more to promote it or to get the word out. Maybe we could have an index of some kind made. A lot of them are private, some are government, some are a hybrid. Quick example, Scouts, some of them use our community center, some use the firehouse, some use our school, cafeterias, or churches, I'm sorry. So anyway, I don't want to go on and on, but maybe we need to just do a better job promoting, but I'm proud of what we do, and we will look to do more. Real quick with the pipelines, I happen to stand solid with Linda and Kirk and everyone else who's against the compressing station. I do welcome, I think he left, Scott's comments, because there are always 2 sides of an issue. I happen to disagree with him, but I appreciate when anybody brings an opposing view, well-researched, and politely presents it to council. There are 7, 8 pipelines. One of the first things I did on council was look into it, and Mr. Vornlocker, who was in the police, was on the police station, a police department back then, I inquired because I saw them around town, underground pipelines. Like, what do we have here? How many? What are they safe? Well, I must say, he came in the following meeting with a color-coded map. Here you go. And I read it, and there are a lot of pipelines, and you have to have them. They're just going to run underneath towns. But a compressor station is far different. I'm not going to dissect the details. Far different than an underground pipeline. You could have a problem with any kind of pipeline, but every once in a while, I bother our public safety people and say, are they been checked? Everything's all status quo. They're safe, and we keep a good eye on them for a variety of reasons, of course. But again, energy and pipelines are a way of life, but compressor stations we don't necessarily need or have or want in Franklin. Real quick, the money's been restored. I don't think it's going to happen this year because the weather, but the balance of JFK Boulevard will be done, hopefully fast-tracked as in the early spring road paving with any of the streets that were budgeted for 2016, but we always have to bump a few to early spring because of the weather. So that has been restored, and I think will be...
Generally, right around that favorite day of the year, April 15th is usually when we start the spring paving.
So if anybody was wondering, and obviously the money was delayed.
Pay your taxes, get your street paved.
Okay, so... And Mr. Karazi, I believe the process is with any street naming or honorary, I believe our administration committee will vet it and send their recommendation to council, but all your work is appreciated, and we'll figure out hopefully some way to recognize our houses of worship in general. That's it. Oh, I do want to say Halloween is coming up. For anybody who hears this meeting, sees it before the actual holiday, be safe, reflective clothing, anything you could do. to make it a safe and happy Halloween. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Vasanella. The talented and honorable Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
There was so much said tonight, I don't feel I need to be redundant. I agree with everything Councilwoman Robinson said, Councilman Prasad, Councilman Vasanella, and I just want to piggyback that we do have a lot that we offer to our youth, and we are giving our youth in the 4th Ward, based on the Hamilton Street Business District and the Week of the People, a trunk or treat event. It's free. We're going to be giving out lots of candy, refreshments. We're going to have prizes for the most scariest, the most creative, the most funniest, the most best in show for the cars that are going to be coming and decorating. We have over 25 people that have said that they're going to bring their cars and decorate their cars and give out candy. This thing is blown up to the point where we're thinking we don't even have enough room to put all these cars. We're going to have a fun bus. Our police department is going to, our community police are going to be there giving out candy. Our fire department in that district is going to be out there with the fire truck. And so we're going to have a DJ, we're going to have a dance contest. So we're doing stuff for our youth. We do, clearly we can't do enough, but we are building a youth center. I know it's not coming fast enough, but we're hopeful. If God is willing and the creek don't rise, we might have that ready and open by spring of 2018, maybe. That we're going to target that.
See, she says it with a smile on her face, and that's supposed to make me say, yes, Miss Councilwoman. Yes, you will.
And you got to have something to work towards.
We have a goal.
Yeah,
and
we
that
have
is
a
our
goal. We have a goal.
Our goal is by the spring of 2018. that we At least, at the very least, break ground.
Break ground, yes. So we're going. We know we can't do enough for our youth, but we're trying to do as much as we can. And thank you, Interfaith Council, because you all are also very dedicated and have a lot of passion for what's going on in the township, and actually offering programs as well for the youth. So we're going to get there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for your comments that you had nothing to say. Thank you. And now the extraordinary and honorable Charles Only-Jaka.
Yes, my mayor, I had the privilege to attend the Canal Fest, and a lot of people came in, and good food was served, and I went there with my wife, and we enjoyed it, and it was fun. Last week, too, I had the privilege again to attend the hot dog sales organized by the food bank as a way of raising fund. That was good too. It helped out. And we know we have to encourage the food bank to raise their money because they are very, very useful to the society. So I think, my mayor, that's all I have for the week.
Thank you, Councilman Only-Jaka. Now the amazing...
Extraordinary, beyond words, magnificent. What else? Do you want to add something?
If you want to underplay it, fine.
Yes.
Honorable Councilwoman
Thank you.
Sherman, I forgot your name.
Whoever she is. Right. First, I'd like to make everybody aware that the United Way is coming back to Franklin Township again in January, the end of January. They will be doing free income tax returns for people in need. They've done this for several years in a row. We're very grateful to them for having targeted Franklin as a community that they bring their services to. So we will again have them here to offer that, and we appreciate their doing that for us. With the theme of things we do for our children, the Pumpkin Patch program is this Saturday. That is done by the Recreation Department. That's at Middlebush Park, and it starts at 1 o'clock. So we're just, the number of things that we can talk about, it really is amazing what this township does. Perhaps it isn't well recognized, but from my perspective, doing the Franklin Day Festival, as many people as show up is as many people who said, I never heard of it. So it's very hard to get the word out. I happen to sit on the Youth Alliance, and I know what Alice and her team do. I know the kind of programs and the kind of effort that they put out. This program on suicide, program on drugs, program on alcohol. They are forever working, and they work with the Board of Education. So between the Board of Education, the houses of worship, and what our township does, there's an enormous amount of things, but you have to seek them out. Sometimes you have to find them, you have to learn about them. Even when the word is out there, people don't remember that they ever heard about them. So this is a township that has been committed to its youth and continues to be committed, as is shown by this forthcoming youth center that's going to be built. So I don't know where Mr. Guy, maybe he's not seeing the information. You have to get on the email list for the township. You'll hear a lot of good things that are going on. And read the newsletter that comes. A lot of people don't. You'll see all the programs that are in the newsletter that the recreation department offers for the children in this town. I don't know how anyone could say that with people like the Hunters and all the private programs along with the scouting programs. This township is rich in what it does for its youth. There may be some group in particular that he feels are not well represented. Well, let us know. Don't stand there and just make accusations. Offer some suggestions. Help us to know, as Councilwoman Robinson said, help us to know what it is we can do better. That is what we're here for. And we will do it better once we know what the issues are. I can just, a brief thing about the Hunters, or certainly the program that Jim has put together. I personally was a Toastmaster for several years when I was working. And that kind of program as an adult instilled so much confidence in my ability to stand and speak in front of groups of people. If I had had something like that when I was a kid, how much more extraordinary could I have become?
Hard to imagine.
Hard to imagine. So what he has done for the young people of this town is really amazing. I know he wasn't alone. He had a group, and they worked together. And it's not just Franklin, it's other communities. But what they've given those young people is, there's no words to describe the value of what he's done. He's changed lives. They have changed lives. That's all I have to say.
That's outstanding, Councilwoman. And now the extraordinary and impressive Deputy Mayor Chase. Glad I'm entertaining someone.
Yes, you are.
Well, we had a Public Works Committee meeting this afternoon, shortly before the council meeting. The most important issue we discussed, the township has just received a formal drought warning from the state. This is above drought watch and below drought emergency, but it is something that, because as everybody knows, we've had very little rain for a very long time, and our reservoirs are running low, as the gentleman from the Highlands Coalition said. And of course, a lot of our water, the water that's the township water, which we buy from New Jersey American Water, they draw from the confluence of the Raritan and Millstone rivers, and what's in the Raritan has come down from the highlands, from Spruce Run Reservoir, and the streams above that. So we have to be very concerned about the highlands, and I certainly would advocate that we pass the resolutions that he suggested, if he's left copies of that. But the Public Works Committee discussed the drought warning. The township is already taking some steps. We've stopped flushing hydrants. We've directed the fire companies not to do apparatus testing, which requires drawing on the hydrants, for instance, to test hoses. The streets will be swept only if it's raining. They have to use there has to be a certain amount of water to make street sweeping effective, but until the drought situation has passed, we'll do that only while it's raining. I don't think that I would hope that people are not watering their lawns anymore, and certainly no one is filling swimming pools now. But if we don't have rain before the next council meeting, I think our manager will come with a list of actions to implement. I think the main things would be don't wash your car. If it needs washing, take it to a car wash where they recycle the water so that it is not wasted, doesn't run off. And don't wash the outside of your house or your deck because we need to conserve the water for essential uses. We were informed the DeMott Lane paving is somewhat substandard. The contractor will not be paid until he makes repairs of what is not up to snuff. The Ridings Parkway down off Route 518, where the township has taken out some shrubbery that was obstructing a view of traffic along the parkway, and this received some criticism. We are going to, I think in the spring, we will plant low junipers that will not interfere with sight lines and will be low maintenance. Obviously, when there's a drought on, it's not the time to plant. And we'll also be putting up marker poles to ensure that it's clear to snow plows where the road is and where it isn't. On the little Rocky Hill water line, Mott McDonald, our consulting engineer, is still working on the detailed engineering plans, but once they are done, we will put pressure from our legislators on the Department of Transportation to let us do this. We're minimizing intrusion on the pavement. Their objection is that they repaved the road a couple of years ago and they don't want anyone cutting through their pavement for 5 years after they do this. Well, the people of Little Rocky Hill have been waiting a lot more than 5 years for us to fix the Little Rocky Hill water main so that it will carry a reasonable amount of pressure. And of course, there's all the more concern given the plans for the compressor station, because if, God forbid, there should ever be an accident there that would cause a fire, but if there were a fire, we don't have an adequate water supply for fighting a fire there or in the woods around it. I think Mr. Siegel is wrong in his endorsement of the compressor station. Yes, the existing pipes, although the pipeline that this compressor station would be on dates from the 1950s, it's over 60 years old. But a compressor station has a lot more hazards than just explosion. They release gas from time to time. This can have negative medical effects, and we're very concerned about the water supply, the DNR canal there, the quarry water. Any water that falls into the quarry eventually drains into the DNR canal, so any runoff from this compressor station is likely to drain into the DNR canal. So we have abundant reason to oppose this compressor station, and yeah, we should have some sort of a township committee to keep in touch with the opponents and make formal representations to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission about the township's concerns about this compressor station. I'm sure Councilman Prasad and I would be appropriate to serve on such a committee. And again, like others, I have greatly appreciated the work that Jim and Karen Hunter have done with the New Jersey Orators. This is a program that started in Franklin, I think 31 years ago, when Jim was one of the founding fathers of that and has stayed with it this entire time, and it spread to a large number of chapters. I forget how many there are now, at least 15, including even a couple in Pennsylvania. This was a good idea that has been proven by its expansion, and it's really impressive to hear these kids declaim, and I'm sure it is very important to making them confident and productive citizens. It's a very fine program. And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Chase. For my comments, body cameras, I'm absolutely in favor of body cameras. They are an issue not easily put into practice. For instance, if you call a police officer and he comes into your home, now there's video of your home. What are the rules on someone doing an open public records request of that video? And then the practical money matters, which I'm always looking at. It's estimated when we get body cameras to handle the Oprah requests, depending on how we are told to handle them, it may mean 2 new hires. Nevertheless, I do think they're an important thing that can open up protection of both citizens and protection of our police officers. Canal Fest was great. I ate too much, as always. And the best thing about Canal Fest is how it is run and organized. It's members of the East Millstone community getting together once a month, virtually throughout the year, and organizing things, and then going and doing their not so little projects and getting it done. And it's just an amazing group of people, an amazing part of the town. Interfaith Lane, I like it. I think it's a good idea. It's practically named that already because, as pointed out, going down that street, there are houses of worship everywhere. So I agree with the idea. Tonight was an education in how difficult it can be to be an elected official. Not that I am whining or complaining, but tonight we had Mr. Guy say we're not doing enough for the youth, Mr. Siegel saying we're spending too much for the youth, and Mr. Tibbs asking why we are recognizing the people who work hard to help our youth. And so you're not going to please everyone, obviously. To the last point is we recognize people who do their job and put their heart and soul in it. You don't just pay employees and that's it. You recognize when they do great work, and the military gives medals for that. We don't give bonuses, but we do recognize people when they do a good job, and we will continue to do so, I hope. As far as not doing enough for our youth, I think Councilwoman Sherman said it, or maybe Councilwoman Francois, but you can never do enough. However, we are now working on the Kimberly Francois, Jim and Karen Hunter Youth Center. We've recently built Middlebush Park, Catalpa Park, and we are constantly working on, and hopefully someday we'll see a YMCA, just to name a very few things. The pipeline, I think the suggestions are very good. I thank the people who came here for it. I commend and can lend support to Councilman Prasad and Deputy Mayor Chase to getting a community-based group going to organize our efforts there. And to Mr. Siegel's comment, kind of in conjunction with Mr. Guy's comments about how being parochial and concentrating on just your area, I guess if you live in the second ward, you're not worried about a compressor station way down in the first ward, or at least he isn't. I know others in the second ward are. Thank you for bringing up DeMont Lane. We will hold the contractors' heels to the fire on that, and we will make sure it is fixed. We have begun a process of starting some online forms, which will save taxpayers time, maybe some money in that it'll be more efficient for our clerk to work on forms and the other people that the forms might go to. Our department heads have begun receiving the information so that they can begin to put together the online forms, and hopefully that will be coming up soon. Tax appeals, so the tax appeals I'm talking about are when some of our large commercial interests in town appeal their taxes. This can cost the town hundreds of thousands of dollars with each appeal. We had about $5 million worth of appeals go to court and what do you call it? Settlements, and that was our liability in those, and we've paid far under that amount. I believe the amount that was saved from what was asked was about $5 million. It came in about $1 million under the amount that we set aside in case we were having these. So our tax appeal attorney is doing a wonderful job there. When that attorney was first appointed, or that firm was first appointed, there was some strife about picking that particular firm, but they have turned out to do a great job. I was at an opening of the IHOP on Easton Avenue, or the reopening after some redesign, refurbishment, and the reason I bring it up is because they have jobs available, part-time, full-time, all kinds of different jobs that can lead, start out at the ground level and lead up to higher levels. So that's another place that for people to get jobs and get them locally. In general, the comments about what we are doing and what we are not doing in town, I believe, for instance, with the Boy Scouts, that's a private organization that we help out somewhat. I am going, at least emotionally, I am going to their Eagle Court, and we are supporting them in that. But there's an organization, a private organization, that's doing things on its own with minimal help. I believe that the role of government is to do things that the private sector can't do. So when the private sector is doing it, that's great, and we don't have to lend a hand or interfere. But I do believe this town reaches out a great deal to the youth, provides a lot for the youth, but absolutely we can always do more. And those are my comments, and now for the absolutely adequate manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Mayor, you touched on something that I've been sitting here and kind of stewing about all evening, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Like you said, I was greatly perplexed by some of the comments tonight. We do too much, we don't do enough, and we give awards to our stellar employees, which was unbelievably criticized tonight. And I'm not quite sure how that particular person could do that, given the fact that he's often critical of the fact that he doesn't feel that they do enough. But when they get awards, they should be not thanked for that, and they should just be considered doing their job. I honestly, as your township manager, those employees work for me. I realize you are the governing body, but I am their boss. And in this particular circumstance, I would like to personally thank Safi Cowan and Marianne Regan and Bruce Medley, all of whom do an amazingly fantastic job in their roles within the Recreation Department. We are very, very lucky to have them. This town offers, in my opinion, far more in the way of recreational opportunities for all of its residents, not just its youth, but everyone from just young children to senior citizens. We continue to expand all those programs. The therapeutic recreation program is being honored as amongst the best in this state and probably the best in the country. And I don't have the words to express my appreciation to those staff members for all that they do. And so I'm glad that you all feel the same way, because I know that you do, and I'm glad to hear you all express that tonight. So thank you on behalf of them. Just a couple short notes. Tomorrow between 11 and 1 at the Senior Center, for those 65 and over, there are free flu shots being made available by the Somerset County Health Department. So all of you who wish to receive a flu shot who are 65 or older, I encourage you to go to the Senior Center tomorrow between 11 and 1 to receive your shot free of charge. And also, this has been getting kind of a lot of steam, especially since Franklin Day Festival. There is an online survey that's available on our website right now. I encourage anyone who has an interest in farmers markets and the possibility of a farmers market here on a regular basis in Franklin Township to go to our website. There's a link on the both the news section and the Open Space Advisory Committee portion of the website to fill out a brief survey and give us your input on what you would like to see if we were to pursue that on a regular basis here in Franklin Township. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Manager, Mr. Manager. Now for council discussion item, the CY 2016 Best Practices Inventory. This is an inventory of 30 requirements that the state places upon us. Things like, do we get our audit done in time? Do we discuss absorbing our commissions, etc.? And you have to get 20 either yeses or not applicables out of the 30. We got 23.
Actually, you need to get 22, and we got 24.
We got 24. And so if you get less than that, you don't get your full state funding. We met our requirements, and we will get our full state funding, whatever the state decides that would be. And we are filling part of that requirement by having this discussion now. Are there any council comments about this? Any manager comments about this?
No, none at all.
Very good. So moving on to approval of the minutes. The following minutes: Township Council Work Session, regular meeting, October 10th, 2016, 7 p.m., and the Township Council Executive Session of the same date are hereby presented for approval by the Township Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, amendment to the minutes? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Deputy Mayor Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 11 is approval of the warrants. Warrants in the amount of $9,635,288.14 on October 25th, 2016 are presented to the Township Council for payment. The warrants are the bills we pay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the warrants? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Deputy Mayor Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
We're now on to item number 12, public hearing and adoption of ordinances on second reading. So when we have an ordinance, there is a first reading, which essentially announces it to the public, and a second reading at which the public may comment prior to our final passage. So ordinance 4167-16, an ordinance repealing Municipal Code Chapter 196, flood damage prevention of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, and replacing it with a new Chapter 192, flood damage prevention as per New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection requirements. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. Do I have a motion to open for public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion on opening to the public session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now open to the public for comments on this ordinance only.
Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I'll motion to close the public portion of the hearing in this
Seconded.
ordinance.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion on closing. All in favor of closing?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. We are now closed to public hearing. Do we have a motion on the ordinance itself?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the ordinance? So again, this ordinance is a requirement that we need to pass so that people can get their flood insurance. It has maps as to the floodplains, et cetera. Seeing no discussion. Discussion?
No.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Item number 13, ordinance on introduction of the first reading, we have none. Item number 14, the consent resolution. Items A through Q, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do I have a motion
Motion for passage.
and second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Anyone want to discuss any particular item, pull any item, et cetera? Seeing no one wishing to pull an item or discuss an item, Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Item number 15, resolutions voted on separately. Resolution 16490, authorizing execution of a first addendum to the Shared Services Defense Agreement previously executed by the vicinage 13 municipal group members, and further authorizing payment for the Township Affordable Housing Trust Fund in the amount of $5,000 for defense costs is presented to the Township Council for adoption.
Motion for passage.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I see no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman
Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
We are now on to old business A, 2016 boards, committees, and commissions vacancies. Are there any nominations for these boards, committees, et cetera?
Mayor?
Yes.
I don't have any nominations, but it's that time of year again, so if everybody's in agreement, I think we should, at least after tonight, if there's any, sure we'll do them tonight, but then get the list out and see who wants to be renewed, and then unless it's an emergency, make only appointments in early January.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I think clerk is already scheduling herself for gathering that information.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no, the Human Relations Commission, all the people that have expiring terms have expressed an interest in renewing, so.
Okay. That's good to know. Any nominations? Hearing none. There is no executive session, so we are on to adjournment.
Motion for adjournment.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on adjournment? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are adjourned. Be well, Franklin.